all are the changes. Julie ma'am, I cannot see the PPT. Is it visible to others? If yes, please respond on the chat.
Yes, Benazir, go ahead.
Yeah. So, as we all know, Village Poverty Reduction Plan has four components, which is entitlement plan, livelihood plan, public good service resource development plan, as well as social development plan. So, in entitlement plan, one of the new addition this time is to have a basic profile in place. So, through the basic profile, we tend to capture the age, head of the household, ward number, ward name, social category of the SHG members, as well as what all are they currently accessing from the sorry, I'm muting now. And in the current context, what all are the entitlements that the SHG members are availing? So few of the elements like age, social category, and person with disability details will be migrated from the NRLM MIS. And wherever these data is not available from the NRLM MIS, the CRPs will have to enter the details again. But this is what consists more or less in the basic profile. It is collected at the SHG level, consolidated and prioritized at the VO level, and later on consolidated at the VC, VDC, or Gram Panchayat level for the concerned states. It has 12 centrally sponsored schemes plus few of the state-specific schemes that all these states have shared with us. I kindly request everybody to put themselves on mute. Then we have the next plan, which is livelihood plan. In livelihood plan, what we are expecting is a household level profile of each SHG member. That is, in the current situation, what all are livelihood activities is that member engaged in, what all are the resources available to her. And after this, we will be going into the plan part of it. So in order to enhance the existing livelihood activities or to start new livelihood activities, what all are the resources, asset skills that the SHG member require. Same, it is being collected at the SHG level, consolidated and prioritized at the VO level, and later on consolidated and prioritized at the GP or VC or VDC level. Then we have public good service and resource development plan. Here we will. Here.
Okay.
I request everyone to please mute.
Yeah, thank you. So in public good service and resource development plan, we have a village profile that is being captured. In the village profile, it generally consists of what all are the resources, natural resources available within the village. Along with that, few elements like the forest land available, other farm-based land available in the village. After this, we will be preparing the public good service resource development plan and the social development plan, which is later on consolidated at the GP level. And for social development plan, we have social issues from 5 broad categories from which the from which the VO members can select for a particular plan and make the plan, which is later consolidated at the Gram Panchayat or VC or VDC level. Next slide. So VPRP, the first version of VPRP mobile application was rolled out only in 6 states, which is being Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Puducherry, Assam, Rajasthan, and Bihar. But in the current year, this financial year, we will.
Excuse me, madam.
this financial year, we will be rolling out VPRP mobile application across all 34 state and union territories. For those states who have collected the data previously in the mobile application, for those states, an Excel file will be provided from CDFI side. Uh, for those states who have rolled out VPRP mobile application in the previous year will not be able to show the previously populated data because there are a lot of changes that has been introduced into the mobile application and the fields. So from next year onwards, it is a possibility, but from this year, everything has to be entered from scratch. Next slide. Um, have we moved to the next slide? Okay. Entitlement, and so this is just a flow of activities of how it used to be in the previous year. So in the previous year at the SHG level, entitlement and livelihood plan were collected together by the same CRP. Both of it were ranked and validated at the SHG level and then submitted to the VO level for further ranking. At the VO level, we used to collect the demands of the members of the vulnerable category outside the SHG fold, and then we used to consolidate the demand of entitlement and livelihood demands and submit it for further ranking. At the same time, we used to prepare the public good service and resource development plan as well as SDP plan and submit it to the GP level for further ranking. And at the GP level, we used to just reprioritize the entitlement, livelihood, and public good service and resource development demands. And later on, click on the final submit button from where it will be stored to the server. And from a web layer, we used to download the reports for VPRP. But this year it will be a little different. So next slide. Okay, in VPRP 2.0, that is in the current version, what we will be doing is that at the SHG level, the entitlement plan will have a basic profile capture also, as we had mentioned. Once the basic profile is captured, then only the plan demands of the SHG can be entered at the SHG level. After which the ranking and validation is done at the SHG level and then submitted for further ranking. And this task is to be done by the VPRP CRP, who has been advised to per VO basis pay. One second, I'm just muting. Kindly request everybody to put themselves on mute. At the For the livelihood plan, we will be engaging the livelihood CRP this year onwards. So, for the livelihood plan, a household level profile is to be created. Once the household level profile is created, then the livelihood plan is being done, after which it is being ranked and validated at the SHG level and submitted to VO for further ranking. At the VO level, we will be collecting the demands of members outside the SHG fold for entitlement plan. We will re-rank it and submit it and do the necessary validation and submit it for further ranking at the GP level. At the same time, we will be preparing a PGSRD and SDP plan at the VO level with the help of VPRP CRP. But for livelihood, again, there is a component of village profile that is being done at the VO level, which is the responsibility of the livelihood CRP to do it. And we will be reprioritizing the demand of livelihood after collecting the demands of members outside the SHG fold at the VO level. It is further ranked and submitted for re-ranking at the Gram Panchayat or VC VDC level. At the Gram Panchayat or VC VDC level, we have to do a re-ranking of the beneficiaries and click on the final submit button, from where the server will be synced and we will be able to download the VPRP report. It is same for the livelihood as well. Next slide. Yeah. One second, I'm just putting everyone on mute.
No.
Karen, please do not mute me. I'll mute from my end. Yeah. VPRP rules in 2021 was such that there was one CRP who would be doing both. We then had one CRP at the VO level who used to consolidate the demand for livelihood and entitlement plan, as well as prepare the PGSRD and SDP plan. At the GP level also, one particular CRP used to be there who would do the GP level prioritization and final submit. So we had only like 3 roles in the previous version. But this year, when we are creating login IDs, we will have to create minimum of 6 per a Gram Panchayat, where there will be 2 roles at the SSG level. That is one for the VPRP CRP who will be in charge of the entitlement plan, and one the livelihood CRP who will be in charge of preparing the livelihood plan. At the VO level, the VPRP CRP will be in charge of doing the consolidation of the entitlement plan as well as PGSRD and SDP plan preparation. The livelihood CRP's task will only be to create the village profile and the livelihood plan consolidation. At the Gram Panchayat level, the VPRP CRP will have the responsibility to collate that, consolidate and prioritize the demand of entitlement and PGSRD, while the livelihood CRP will have the task of re-ranking and submitting the demands of livelihood demands. So these are the roles that will be there this year. Next slide. I'm just mute. Okay. So there are few preparatory activities that will be done with regard to user management system. So the first uh, preparatory activities from the side of CDFI, the technical agency who is in charge of preparing the mobile application as well as the user management application. So they will be migrating the data from the NRLM MIS after placing a cutoff date for transfer of data. So it could be first week, 1st of August or 2nd of August, whichever date they have decided. They will be migrating the data from NRLM MIS. In this process, they'll be doing 2 small tasks, which is removing 0 member count SHG. So if there is any SHG that is inactive with 0 members in it that had been updated in the MIS long back, such kind of SHGs will be removed after transferring, after migrating the data. Then they will remove low volume count SHGs. That is, if there are only 1 or 2 members in an SHG, they will remove such kind of SHGs also from the list. Then they will create something called dummy VOs. So this dummy VOs is applicable only for those SHGs that are registered but still not affiliated with the VO or registered under the VO. So in a village, for example, in a village organization, there are 20 SHGs. Now, out of those 20 SHGs, 18 SHGs are registered with the VO. They are available in the VO profile, but the rest 2 of the SHGs are not registered with the VO, but they are still functioning on the field. So those 2 SHGs will be considered as loose SHGs, and they together will form a dummy VO. Only 2 or 3 SHGs can also come under a dummy VO. Last year, in maximum cases, maximum of 10 SHGs have come together to form a dummy VO also. When this is being created, it will be done on the basis of the village. So in the NRLM MIS, looking at the name of village, the SHGs corresponding to the same village, which are not registered with the VO, will form the dummy VO. Then after that, an Excel sheet will be pre-populated from CDFI side, having all these data: the block name, the GP name, the VO name, the SHG name, the number of members, the number of members in the SHG. All of these data will be pre-populated in that Excel sheet for each and every state, and it will be shared with the state nodal person. So once the state nodal person receives this Excel sheet, they will have to share it with the block nodal persons. This Excel sheet directly they have to share with the block nodal person. But at the same time, the state nodal persons will have to create login IDs for the district, and district will have to create login IDs for the block. So once the block receives their own login ID and they receive the Excel sheet, what they have to do is, in the Excel sheet, they have to assign the SHGs to a particular CRP. They can decide that, okay, 20 SHGs, this particular CRP will do. So against those 20 SHGs, the name of the CRP has to be written down. And in the Excel sheet also, there is something called a profile. So against the name of the CRP, you can write the corresponding user ID of that CRP in the Excel sheet and the password for the CRP in the Excel sheet. So that once you get the login ID for the user management application, it becomes easier to feed in the data into the fields. So that is what I have told. Once you receive once you receive the Excel sheet, the login IDs have to be created in the particular sheet. Then in the user management system, the login IDs have to be entered, have to be created, and after that, these IDs have to be distributed to the CRPs. Next slide, please. Yeah, so VPRP application.
Nazir, you are not audible.
పొద్దున ఫోన్ చేశారు డేవిడ్ గిల్ రమ్మని బాబు ఒకసారి అన్నారు మీరు ఫోన్ చేశాను డేవిడ్ గిల్ మీటింగ్ లో ఉన్నాను
Benazir, you are not audible.
My
Yeah,
internet
now it's
got
fine.
cut off. Yeah. So yes, in the VPRP application, we majorly have three components. One is the user management component, which is a web application, which is used only by the SRLM staff at the state, district, and block level staff can use it. This is purely for the purpose of creating user IDs for the CRPs. Then we have the mobile application, which only the CRPs will be using it on the field to collect the demands at the SHG and VO level and for consolidation at the VO and GP level. Then we have a web layer, which is for downloading the reports. So this can also be used by the block level staff to download the reports and share it with the CRPs and CLF and VO for further action. So in this web application, another element will also be included where where certain details like the number of CRPs trained, the number of CLF and VO given concept seeding will be fed into. So we have these three major application components for VPRP. Next slide, please. Yeah, I think we have covered that in depth later on, previously also. So I'll go to the next slide. So in entitlement plan, we have 12 centrally sponsored schemes, which have been there last year as well. And we have certain additions for the state-specific schemes as well. So, in a state like Manipur, where we have received three state-specific schemes, so for them, it will be 12 plus 3, 15 schemes under entitlement plan. But when it comes to livelihood, there will be 11 components, which is inclusive of the individual and group activities. So last year we used to cover only farming, animal husbandry, and non-farm activities in individual and group. But this year it is going to be a little comprehensive in nature and more elaborate. So we have other farm-based activities as well, and NTFP activities also taken into consideration, along with few NRM works, which is with regard to soak pit and all of that, which comes under MG Narega. So this is the idea of entitlement and livelihood plans. And the MGNREG's community work demand has been taken into PGSRD at the VO level, so that it becomes easier for preparation. Next slide, please. There are few important elements to remember for the user management system. The first one is with regard to the dummy VO concept. So SHGs that are not assigned to any VO are mapped to dummy VO. As I had mentioned, there will be few SHGs that are loose in nature, which is not affiliated or registered to any particular VO. So on a village basis, these loose SHGs are identified and mapped together as a dummy VO. The list will be provided from CDFI side to the states on which all are these SHGs that are formed as dummy VOs. Assigning multiple roles to a CRP. One CRP can be given multiple roles, but we have to ensure that the load is not high for that CRP. Maximum of 2 roles we can give to that CRP. For example, if a CRP is doing SHG level entitlement plan, she can also be given VO level entitlement consolidation, PGSRD, and SDP. But if you give more load to one CRP, there are chances that the mobile will crash. Then plan user IDs in advance. That is why an Excel sheet is being provided. An Excel sheet is being provided to the states. So state will distribute it to the block nodal persons, and you can practice the user ID making in that particular sheet. So once the user management system is actually released for production, you can just enter it into it with minimum mistakes from the side. The option for resetting password is available only for the block nodal person who has been created the login IDs. Even in the mobile application, there is an option called forgot password, but if you click that, it will not work. So in case a CRP forgets a password, they will have to inform the block nodal person in advance so that the password is reset. User ID creation in production. Last year we had given the user management system for practice purpose, but this year it will be one version, the final release version. So in that you can make a one-time entry. Next slide, please. Suggested CBOs per ID. So it is suggested that if one CRP is doing the SHG level plan preparation, only 30, maximum 30 SHGs are assigned to that particular CRP. Now, for example, in Andhra Pradesh, where we have more number of SHGs, and one CRP might have to do, for example, 80 SHGs. So you can divide the SHGs in two login IDs. Like for example, one DD or one CRP has 80 SHGs. So you divide 40 SHGs in one user ID, or 30 SSGs in one user ID, and the remaining 30 SSGs are assigned into another login ID, and the remaining 20 SSGs are assigned to another login ID. So that way we can reduce the load that is being saved in one user ID. Then maximum of 2 or 3 VOs can be assigned to one CRP at the VO level, and one GP can be assigned to the user at the GP level. You can create multiple user IDs. So as I had mentioned, if a CRP is in charge of 60 SSGs, we can create 2 login IDs, but we always have to ensure that the first login ID, the entire SSGs that have been assigned in the first login ID is completed. She has submitted it to server, then only she uses the next login ID. Otherwise, it will be confusing for the CRP as well. So we have to complete all the 30 SSGs assigned in the first login ID, submit it to the server, finish that task off, and then go and do the next login ID. Yeah, next. So it's a small recap of VPRP. So a lot of focus is being given to the livelihood plan. That is why a livelihood household level profile is being created this time. Once the livelihood household profile is created, only we'll be able to do the plan component of the livelihood part. It is more of household level planning instead of individual planning. So we have to take into consideration what the household requires for livelihood rather than what the particular individual requires. The already accessing entitlement information is also being captured in the mobile application for entitlements. The entitlement and livelihood component can be done separately by 2 separate CRPs. It has been suggested in the VPRP advisory that 2 CRPs per VO and 1 livelihood CRP per VO minimum. The numbers the states can decide, of course. Entitlement is a one-time capture, that is, it is captured only once, it cannot be edited or changed after that. But livelihood is more of a repetitive activity where according to the season also we can come and make plan for livelihood plan. At the SSG level, a basic profile and a livelihood profile is being captured for each and every SSG member. 1 second. At the village level, a VO profile is being captured, and the components have been mentioned earlier as well. Once the profile is done, then only will a member be able to do the plan component. So in that way, we can say that profile is created, then plan can be done. No profile, then no planning can be done for that particular SSG member. So yeah, this is it. Thank you. If we have any doubts, we can ask the questions. We have Jui ma'am and Suchi also who can help us with the question answers.
Yeah, if anyone have any query, please raise your hand and you can ask your query.
Excuse me, ma'am. I'm again from Anantapur. Am I audible?
Yes, please go ahead.
Earlier, Banazir ma'am said that if anyone forgot their passwords, the reset option is given to only block level user only. Same time, it will be given to DMMU level so that we can reset password as earliest. Why? Because in block level they were not enough to do that one. Please check the possibility.
Let us. We are yet to see the Shruti will take us through that. So if you have any doubt related to that, we can come up after once she presents us. Huh?
Oh, sure. Thank you.
Any other query from anyone else?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Actually,
Yeah.
if you represent the slide number 14 for the solution of this CRP IG.
I couldn't get you. I would request others to please mute and you can please repeat the question.